accept our most warmest welcome. We understand how difficult it is for some of us to take some time during the day and come here. And it's great that we can show our manufacturer friends such a great turnout. And we have to thank once again our friends at Cabrio Fiat for this wonderful opportunity. They're always helping Sama, and every time that we need a sponsor for this kind of events, with the help of Marcelo and his prestige team, we get their support every time we need it. So please allow me to call to the microphone Lisa Barro.
Thank you, Jaime. It's been way too long. I miss you guys. Really nice to be back in Miami, and now I always say I'm spoiled. What?
We miss you too.
Thank you. But now I really am spoiled because I get to come back next week.
Yep.
So I just have a couple of little housekeeping items. You might notice there's press kits outside, so if you're interested in that, make sure you take one on the way out. If you did park in the parking lot at 7 and in between Collins and Washington Avenue, we're going to have someone from Prestige stationed at the pay station, and you just pop your card in there and then we'll pick up the tab for that. And you might notice the little models on the table. I'm going to come around with a bowl. If you pop your business card in it, we'll do a little drawing, and 6 people will get to walk home with the models.
All right.
So, on to the real reason why we're here, to talk about all the latest things with Fiat. Actually, some of you probably have met Ariel. There he is. Ariel Gatlin is head of PR for international PR. But here to tell you all the good stuff, super secret stuff, Matt Davis is head of Fiat product marketing. And I'm going to turn it over to Matt. Take it over.
Everyone hear me? Because I got this mic on me, but I'm not sure if the sound's carrying. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Ariel, where's Ariel? Can you hear me? I told him I'm working on an Italian brand, so I need to use my hands, but they pulled me back a little bit. Anyway, my name is Matt Davis. I'm the head of Fiat Product. I am extremely excited to be here today, and I'm going to try to cover as much of this as I can today. If I start talking too long, just give me the, all right. We are very pleased with our performance in 2012. If you look at how we shaped up, we sold 44,000 cars in the U.S. We sold 55,000 cars in North America, and we were up 120% year over year, which it wasn't a full year. We didn't have a dealer network. But we overcame a lot of things in 2012 to really take the brand to where it is today. If you look at the volume, it probably isn't that impressive, 55,000 units. But when you look at like Grand Cherokee, maybe 2 months worth of sales. But when you look at all the manufacturers that brought their brands to the United States over the last decade, it typically took them multiple vehicles and several years to get to 50,000 units. So our first full year, Fiat has been very well received, and we sold 55,000 units in North America. Matter of fact, this month, we are on pace to sell our 100,000th vehicle since coming back to the U.S. So we're very pleased with that as well. And you have a big part of that because Miami is the third largest city that we have in the U.S. and accounts for about 5% of our total volume. So putting that in perspective, around 5,000 Fiats are running around here in Miami. So again, we really appreciate it. It is definitely going to be a very good year for us. So when we started at the beginning of 2012, we had about 8% awareness. We had one model, and we knew we needed to get a lot of momentum to get us through the model year. We introduced the Abarth in February, and then later on in the year, we introduced the 500L, we introduced the 500 Electric, and the Abarth Cabrio, which is what we'll be talking about today. Through the course of 2012, we took our awareness from 8% all the way to almost 50% through a lot of our campaigns. And the great thing about, even though we sold all these cars with one vehicle, basically. We gave it so many different personalities that we're able to pull in this wide range of customers. Everyone says, who's your customer? And really, I can't answer that. If you look at our two most popular models, my volume car is the Pop, the entry-level 500. My fastest turning vehicle is the Gucci, which we're going to bring back for another run here in the next 30 days. So it's not the same customer. We have just as many people making $60,000 a year as making 120, 55% male, 45% millennial Gen Xers, and 55% boomers. We don't have a customer. We have personalities that a lot of people find very, very appealing. When you look at the cars like the 500 and the Abarth, it gives us such leeway to give our advertising two distinctly different spins. If you look at the immigrants ad we had, that really had the Italian style design, fun to drive, elements and characteristics of the brand, and then you look at Cotronelle or Charlie Sheen or the Pitbull spot that's just out there and pulls in a completely different demographic of customers. So we've had a lot of fun, but as we go forward, we know that consumers are telling us one thing: love the brand, but we need a little bit bigger car. So at the end of last year, we introduced the Fiat 500 Cabrio and the 500e that I hope all of you have an opportunity to drive. It is a very early production model. When Lisa talked to me about it, we made sure we had one down here for you to drive just because we are so proud of it. When you look at Fiat, it's socially responsible, it's fun to drive, and there is a no compromise 500 electric outside that you should take for a spin. 0 to 60 in 9 seconds. Instant gratification, 111 horsepower, 147 foot-pounds of torque. If you have not driven an electric car, even if you had, you should go drive that car, because where a lot of the vehicles out there have eco buttons and they're trying to really maximize the range by kind of neutering the car, we said to our engineers, we want it to be a 500 first, an electric car second. And they have delivered that. They bolted the battery to the frame, giving you even more responsive and stiff handling. They give you all that instant gratification of the electric powertrain. And we had, without compromising the brand, we still get 87 miles of EPA estimated range, which is best in class. That doesn't take into consideration that the vehicle comes with a regenerative brake system that I guarantee you will not know the difference of actual braking and regenerative braking. They've done such a seamless job of intermingling the two that when you step on the brake, it feels like you're actually braking, but it's actually the motor that's regenerating all that power that you're pushing on the brake pedal to pull back into the car. So for the average driver driving in the city, you can get easily over 100 miles per charge while driving this car. But we understand from a execution and doing a lot of research that the 500, the electric models, they're great technology, but people have some pretty decent concerns about how to get into this technology. You have the early adapters that will spend any amount of money to get into new technology, but we know in order to make something mainstream, we need to make it accessible, which is another pillar of the Fiat brand. We want to make this brand available to everybody. So in order to do that, we have a $199 lease with $999 US signing. That's going to be on the 500e. That is the same payment that's on the Pop gas model. So if you want to drive an electric car, we'll give you that option. If you want to drive the gas because of your lifestyle, you can't stay within the 100 miles, then we'll let you have the same vehicle, just different powertrains for the same payment. And we've added a smartphone app included to help you manage your lifestyle, as well as a Fiat 500 e-Pass that gives you 12 rentals per year for 3 years during the course of your ownership, so that if you do have to go to Vegas and you need to have a bigger car, we'll give you the opportunity to get into something bigger, while the majority of your time you can live the electric lifestyle. We're going to start out in California. We're looking at other markets. I know Florida's a big electric state. We're starting out in California at first. There's a lot of infrastructure already there to support that type of driver, as well as if you take everything off the table and look at where electric cars are sold, right now close to 70% of all electrics, no matter what manufacturer, are sold there. So we're going to start there, and then we will start looking at other markets that we can bring the electric vehicles. But from our perspective, that's a great halo car. But when you look at what the Fiat brand has done, the number one issue people have with the brand is they love it, it's a appealing, it's different. It's not the econo boxes that are on the road today that just fit a price point. It gives them something unique and different that people are attracted to. But size becomes an issue. And we knew that. So we're very pleased to offer the 500L. That will be in stores. The first one just got off the boat this week. We're doing final quality checks on it, and they'll be out to market sometime this month. It is a great addition to the 500 lineup. And as you can see, it has a very similar characteristic to the other Fiats in the showroom. It has the same powertrain as the Abarth, so it's going to have 160 horsepower and 184 foot-pounds of torque. It will be available in both 6-speed manual and a Euro twin clutch transmission that's a automatically shifting dual drive clutch. It will advantage being that it gives the same fuel economy as a manual transmission in either capacity. So we're going to come out with that later on this month. We're very pleased. And when you look at it, size perspective-wise, it looks bigger, but you really need to get inside. I've actually heard 3 of you today talk about you really don't do it justice until you sit inside the car. And when you have a 120 cubic feet of interior space, it's actually 40% larger interior space than the 500. You have the flexibility of folding all the seats down, and you have a 360-degree wraparound, almost wraparound glass view by having a glass 8-pillar and D-pillar. So that gives you a very unique perspective from the inside, really opens it up. And even though it's a B-segment car, it has the interior space of a large car. And again, I can't do it justice until you sit in the car, but for someone my size sitting in the rear seat, it has a recline method, so no matter how big you are, you can easily sit in the rear seat with plenty of leg room. So it gives the flexibility of having the driving dynamics of the Fiat brand with Kona shots in front and rear. It gives you the performance with the 160 horsepower and all the look and feel of the Fiat. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to be consistent with how we have delivered the Fiat brand on the 500. We're going to have multiple personalities of this model. So there's going to be 4 distinct personalities. You'll have a Pop, which is an entry level. You'll have a Easy and a Lounge, which all follow that Italian style design type look and appearance. But what we're going to do is come out with a model called the Trekking. This is more athletic, more outgoing version of the 500L. And it's going to be the same drive dynamic. There's only personality differences between the two cars. And those will allow us to do the exact same thing we did with the 500, which is offer us to spread the net as wide as we can and pull in as many customers that are appealed to the brand but just have different tastes. You can be a surfer or someone that just needs more room for groceries or whatever your needs are. This car will be the car for you. It has best-in-class horsepower and torque, best-in-class shoulder and headroom in the front seat, and an extremely large sunroof that's available on this car that covers the front and second row. And to make it even more appealing is for the first year of production, we're actually going to include a no charge on our Easy, Trekking, and Lounge model, a no charge for rear package. That's going to include a larger radio, standard navigation, a rear parking camera, and parking sonar to help you maneuver around the city and give you a lot of value at each one of the price points. If you haven't seen our press release recently, we're going to start this car at just under $20,000, and our top of the line will start at $24,995. So a lot of content throughout the entire lineup, and really giving an alternative of someone coming to look at a 500, needing a little bit more space. This is a great alternative. And when you look at the average transaction price for a 500, not including a bar, it actually is around $18,500. So the step from the 500 to the 500L, you'll get a lot more space and functionality for just a little bit more. So we're excited about this. Again, later on this month, we should have these in market. And then I heard that you guys have a great event, Topless, in Miami. I was disappointed I couldn't make it, but I did do some research, and it was actually surprisingly easy to find your website because I Googled it from the office, and it was the only website I could click on. So it was like very easy. I got a good overview of what was coming. But we're excited to have this car. We won the Topless event twice with our Fiat vehicles, and we're very excited to have you take this for a ride. It basically is the Abarth but just topless. We have done a lot of things. We've maintained the 160 horsepower, the 170 foot-pounds of torque with the sport button engage. We have the dual intercoolers. We have a 3-mode ESC, so depending how daring you are, you can either leave it fully engaged, take some of it away, or completely disengage if you want to do it more out. I'm recommending it's my car. Then we have a lot of things that the sport button not only gets you from 150 to 170 foot-pounds of torque, but it also enhances steering and the pedal dynamics to give you even more responsiveness in the vehicle. They all come standard with the sport bucket seats. This one has optional leather seats in it. Beats audio is going to be available both on the 500L and now on the 500. So it gives you a lot of sound in that space. And then what we did is, when you take this top away, a lot of companies kind of lose the driving dynamic of the car. It becomes a little loose. In order to do that, they have to add a whole bunch of weight. But given the way that our car is shaped and the design of the Cabrio, we actually only added 33 more pounds to still maintain its drive dynamic of the Abarth. We added additional strength on the B-pillar at the top and the bottom, and we added more support on the IP to, again, still deliver the Abarth experience, that track-ready vehicle, but now topless. So you can actually take the top back, going up to 50 miles an hour to its current position, and then if you want to go all the way down, back to the current position at 60 miles an hour, and then if you wanted to take it all the way down, you have to be going under 50. So it gives you a lot of flexibility when you're driving. You're not sure if you should take the top down or leave it up, to be actually able to enjoy the topless feature without having to sacrifice getting wet. If maybe it starts to rain, and you can just put the top up as you're moving and stay dry. So again, this car is in the market just now, just started hitting about a month ago. We will have this vehicle standard also with the Abarth track experience that gives you a full day with a professional driver. This driver will sit next to you as you're shifting this vehicle and tell you where to brake, where to shift. Really take you to the next level, not only if you're driving, but really allow you to learn the car, what its capabilities are. I think there's a lot of Italian sports cars out there that you'd be afraid to really push to the limit. I think that's the advantage of this car, is that it allows you to really push the car, experience what the designers put into the car, and never feel like you're going to be out of control. I think it gives you a lot of freedom, especially for the average driver, to enjoy this at its full capacity. So that basically sums up what we have. Look forward to you having an opportunity to drive this next week. I think you'll really enjoy it. As I told a lot of my friends as they go driving off this, if you don't like driving this car, it's primarily because you didn't like the person sitting next to you. So choose wisely and enjoy the lunch. I appreciate the invitation to come down here and speak to you, and I will be mingling here for a little bit. Thank you.